Well, folks, I just got back from the theaters seeing Barbie and Oppenheimer. I'm about to review both of them. I'm going to tell you which one of these is the best blockbuster of 2023 and which one is maybe the worst.
I bet he loved our movie, right, Ken?
For those of you who can't wait that long, I'm going to give my review of the Barbie movie in the most Oppenheimer fashion.
What the Run.
Okay, Mattel would like to thank Ben Shapiro for spending what looks like probably $150 on Barbie toys to then performatively have a problem with. Also, reminder, he's nearly 40 years old. That's right, he's turning 40 this year, but he's having a lot of fun having an issue with the Barbie movie. Anyway, that goes on, that review. It goes on and on and on and on and on. I think it's still going on. I think he's still reviewing Barbie right now, actually. I wanna be very clear. I'm not gonna play any more of his review of it because I don't care what he thinks about it, mostly because I know he didn't think about it at all. This is a big performative thing. Does everyone get that? That like whenever a movie comes out that's prominent, that stars a woman or a person of color, he just conveniently is gonna have to review it. And weirdly enough, he always doesn't like it. Which is weird because he is like the philosopher, the cool kid's philosopher. He's the intellectual gladiator. And yet he always, every single time hates these movies, almost as if he's not really thinking at all about it. At this point, why are you watching his review? Just ask ChatGPT, give me what a whiny little gnome would say about Barbie, and you'll get the exact same thing. The AI is gonna put more thought and work into it than Ben Shapiro would. But anyway, we're gonna talk a little, we're gonna make fun of him a little bit more. But Francesca, what do you think?
He's a grown man, people, a grown man who's effectively saying, he's 40 years old and he's saying, why didn't this Barbie cater to me and my attempt at a beard and this goatee and this jacket? Hey, how's it going, kids? Like he spends this long and he's doing it for clicks. You could do a 3-minute video like we're about to do and still get some clicks, but no, he's like, no, we gotta go all in. There's a pink backdrop behind him. He's going for it. Like methinks he really kind of likes Barbie.
I think he probably liked the movie just fine. Now, of course, he can't say that. He can never tell the audience what he really thinks. There is a construct that he has created that they've kind of influenced, that he just needs to do that thing. He can never exercise actual critical thought. Independent thought is not a possibility. So who the hell knows what he really thinks about it? It was a foregone conclusion that he would have a problem with this. They go even further than that, though. He keeps in the description of the review, as well as the tweet he put out, he has to pretend that this is against his will. He says, my producers dragged me to see Barbie. And it was one of the most woke movies I've ever seen. I really didn't want to see it, honestly. I wasn't like eagerly looking forward to it so we can make this video. And again, with the 40-year-old thing, like, I don't care how many little voices you put in it or little editing tricks or whatever, how many attempts to make yourself seem cool or hip. He is a 40-year-old man who whines about movies because he can't take women or black people starring in them. There's nothing cool about that. I don't care what transition pack you download for Adobe Premiere. That does not make that a cool thing. That's an awful lame thing, actually. And again, it doesn't matter about him. It's all of them. We're gonna play a little montage. You know what? I actually saw the movie, which many of them did not. And you know what? It's good, perfectly fine. It's funny in parts, it's touching in parts. Not my favorite movie of the year or anything, but it's perfectly fine. That's a reasonable approach to this.
Did you at one point also like did a joke or a part not really make sense to you and didn't land, and then you had like a little moment where you were either gonna walk out and protest, or you sat there and you were like, oh yeah, I'm like fitty. Like, how old are you, John?
I'm 50 years old, apparently.
I'm an 80-year-old man who wears a suit and tie and talks about the news. Maybe this isn't for me exactly.
Yeah,
and that's
I have
okay.
This weird thing that's wrong with me, Francesca.
Yeah.
Where I don't need everything to be for me.
No,
it's a flaw in me.
It's
It's why I'm not alpha. An alpha man needs to see himself constantly. The movie theater screen should really be a mirror. A true alpha would only be comfortable seeing his own image reflected back at him constantly.
That's exactly
but in
right.
Ben Shapiro's case, it would have to be a funhouse mirror to make him seem a little bit taller. Yeah, I don't know why they are so just desperately, pathetically weak. And every single movie, every joke in every movie needs to be about them. But whatever, it's performative. Again, he's not really thinking about this. It's an act. I don't know why right wingers don't get that. That's not the part of this I want to focus on. I want to make fun of him in another way because he made a mistake there, Francesca. Did you catch it in his little tweet? And also in the bit of the review, he made the mistake of calling this the most woke movie he's ever seen. And that's a mistake because I had always heard that when you go woke, you go broke. And this is the most woke, so it should be the most woke. Ooh. And yet, somehow, it made bananas dollars. $155 million domestic opening weekend box office. That is not only, the most money ever made by a movie directed by a woman, which admittedly there's not nearly enough competition for because the studios don't allow them to direct movies, certainly not a lot of movies with big budgets. But regardless, it's the 4th biggest weekend box office ever. And the previous 3, they were the weekends of Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, and Star Wars The Force Awakens. Major IP sequel blockbusters.
Yeah.
This is an original script. It's based on an IP, but not like on a
there's mega IP.
Yeah, a mega IP, obviously. It made bananas dollars, and it is going to make way more abroad. They're gonna sell hundreds of millions of dollars of Barbies and other stuff, which is it's so weird. It's woke. How did it do so well? It's almost as if going woke and growing broke is not some sort of destiny.
I don't know. I'm honestly waiting for the right to say anything about the massive strike happening in Hollywood, right? Like Ron DeSantis, who hates Disney because Disney's so woke. Well, you've got an ally in the workers, in the actors, in the writers who are currently on strike right now, bringing everything to a grinding halt. Don't you guys have a common enemy, Bob Iger? Don't we want to go after? No, nothing. That's how divorced from reality these people are. They're actual people who put their livelihoods on the line. This is what they're doing. They're actors, they're writers. Everything's ground to a halt. They have nothing to say. Literally nothing to say because they literally take a fairy tale of made up story and are more upset about the made up story than it was actually happening and right in front of them with real people in the real world. I mean, that's what the right dabbles in. That's what they dabble in. They'll give you 45 minutes about Barbie, but 0 about the UPS strike, about the SAG-AFTRA strike, about the WGA strike. Nothing, because those people are invisible to them.
100%, yeah. Because they are there to protect the wealthy, and they are there to, on a personal level, accrue an audience. And how do they choose to accrue an audience? As basically saboteurs for masculinity. They see men who need help, who feel disaffected, disconnected. They feel like economically there's not a strong future for them. And what do? They take these men that desperately need help and they stab them in the back over and over and over again, attempting to keep them as weak, as needy, as angry, as jealous as possible. Men who actually need help instead get used and abused on a daily basis by people like Ben Shapiro, who don't care if these men never end up with happy, satisfying, economically productive lives, so long as they have a nice house.
Yes.
It's pathetic, and not nearly enough conservative men are as enraged by these saboteurs of masculinity as they should be.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.